wishing I hadn't started this one. Piece of fucking shit. Right, what's happening, guys? So this morning's job, no hot water. Now basically the diaphragm in the diverter valve here isn't operating this micro switch, as I'm manually doing now with the screwdriver. So the diaphragm's failed in this. I'm just going to see if I can free it off by taking off the micro switch itself and lubing up and manipulating the actual pin which comes out the diaphragm. I'll take this little plunger off. There's the pin. Didn't work, so I'm going to glue a 5p on, because it does move slightly, just to give it a bit of extra reach to tide the customer over until we can get back and replace this valve or the boiler. See, now I've glued it onto the plunger. I still didn't work. So I just pulled the plunger off slightly and got it going. After the discussion with the customer, we're going to come back to, unfortunately, replace the diverter valve. It's not a great job on these at all. You could just replace the diaphragm, but when the hot water's running on this, it heats the heating up at the same time. To replace this, because obviously the diaphragm's failed in that, and also when they opened the hot tap previously, the heating would warm up another. So that's obviously the diverter valve passing itself as well. So we've opted to replace the complete unit. As much as I wanted to change the boiler, I'll explain after why we're not changing the boiler. Power isolated, easy enough. Rip this off because we're going to remove the PCB board out of the way, protect it from any water. Quite easy to do on these. So we've got cold isolation valve there. Hopefully that'll shut off cold feed to the boiler. Open a tap, yep, it's off. Drop our front cover down, this is broke, this one. I'm not going to do it with a flathead though. 2 screws either side here, drop that down. Before we do that, there's 3 screws on the bottom here to undo to access all the PCB plugs and your power to the boiler to take out this board, as you can see. Let's take a picture of that before I start so I know where everything goes back in. That's a good tip. We've also got to take off the 2 spark electrode plugs and pull this grommet out. Disconnect your pressure gauge. Won't be able to do this one-handed, I don't think. And then you've got to pull these 2 out. There's 2, one on each side. She should be free to get out of the way. Can get that safely out of the way now. and get the heating drain down. Now this is the highest point in this system, or so I believe. So we won't be shutting off the isolation valves to the boiler. Not that I would ever advise to do that, especially on one of these. And they've got a drain point here and here, so we'll get them loosened up and get it emptied out with a bucket underneath. Try and keep these plugs out of the way just so you don't get any water on them. Got them both working now. It's nice actually. It's got drain offs on either side. That's not very common these days anyway. Always worth blowing it up whilst we're here. This will recharge. It's just stopping draining now. Pressure's near enough on 0. I'll take this filling loop off. There's a clip there, and I believe that should pull down and pull out of this O-ring here. I think that's all that's to the filling loop. Then obviously we've got to undo that nut to the plate, that nut, that screw, and that plate should come out then. I lied. There's a screw up there to take out as well. Look, I didn't break it. It's been about 9 years since I've done one of these. I hate them. One loop out. Square in it, it's not square. So I'll put my bits with that to one side. Take note of which way around that came out, even though I don't think it'll go in any other way. Undo that big nut underneath this bottom left hand cover before I can take that out now. Actually undid incredibly easy. Oh shit. Remove the little clamp for a bit. Domestic hot water flow sensor. Don't lose your little plunger, we don't need that 5p on there anymore. Bloody hell, silicone's got all that. I'll flick that off after. Keep that out of the way for now. Undone this. Take that bracket off there. Remove this clip. Oh. Spray a bit of WD-40 in there, let it soak in, and then I'll slacken off all 4 of these screws to the flow manifold. Well, off the flow manifold, just slacken them off, just so it gives me enough to twist it out of here so I don't have to remove that flow manifold. That is the next plan. Whether that happens is anyone's guess. Hopefully that will penetrate the O-ring in there and make it easier to get off. Just got to finish taking off this bolt, this bracket. Comes with a new one of them. No idea why. So the only thing stopping me now is this cold main connection, and it's only on an O-ring. I'm trying to pry it off, but it is stuck fast. that connection there, what I'm taking out. I'm wishing I hadn't started this one. Fuck that. Make a good thumbnail. Piece of fucking shit. Obviously now we're all out. These are still slack, so I'm going to need a bit of movement to slot that back in there. Now this inside here, this O-ring, I don't change. What I do is wrap some PTFE around here, a load of silicone grease, clean it up in there, silicone grease on that, and leave it in situ. Obviously we've got to change all the washers, all the O-rings, across to the new one, and on the plate, get everything cleaned up, ready to put it back together again. Self-explanatory that bit really though. I'm hoping that isn't all the way. Obviously I can see that is tighten them back up now. That's just a fibre washer, there's plenty of movement on that pipe. Fibre washers at plate. Not change them yet because I don't need to. Let's get this bracket back on. Hopefully it'll square it all up. And carry on putting it back together again. You have to put your little diaphragm plunger back on. Probably clip this motorised head, whatever you want to call it, actuator head back on now just because it's out of the way. So to put a new fibre washer in that and tying down, that was a bit interesting. Quite weighty that vessel and this pump. Pulling back on you trying to get it square. New O-ring on there, just about to clean this side up, and new O-ring on that. Because I clean out the ports on that, which I've said a million times. Start pushing the plate back on. There was another way I could have done this. I could have took that flow manifold off from the bypass pipe out, but I found it easier just to leave as much stuff on as possible. Just makes life a bit easier. Obviously, I took the PCB off, but that didn't take that long. Pushing the plate on is about trying to line all 4 connections up at once. If you get it square, push it square on, should all locate at the same time and you won't nick any O-rings. Moment of truth, everything's built back in. What have we forgot? Just tidy a few bits away. Give that 5 minutes on the hot water and fill the heat in before obviously building up the electric side of things. Looks alright so far. Thank Christ. Lovely. Just filling up the heating now. So far so good. What I did do before I started was shut off this automatic air vent, and as you can hear, it actually works. which is decent, because on these boilers, sometimes when you drain the heating system down, if that doesn't work, oh, I have ball aches when I clear it. It tends to overheat a lot. I find running the hot water is best to try and clear the air on these. Oh, get in there now, get that shut off. That's the electrics all powered back up. I'd missed a screw off here, which I've done. Lovely. Get the bottom panel screwed back on, test the heating, do our checks, safety checks. I'll catch back up with you in the van as to why we didn't change the spoiler. Yeah, so the reason behind not changing that boiler is because the customer is 88. She started with dementia, and her daughter does a lot of the looking after her for her. She knows how to use that boiler with all the, obviously, the current controls. A new one would have just made life hard work for her. She even knows how to use the integral filling loop. So yeah, we opted with replacing the diverter valve. In the end, it weren't that bad. But when you've not done one for a few years, you forget what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing, and knacks to doing stuff. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to smash a like, drop a comment down below, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Bye bye now.